Broadcasting from the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command.
Fascinating.
Damn you all to hell!
Nando.
It's the Solo Sci-Fi Podcast.
Right then, so hello and welcome to another episode of A Big Fuck Up and Solo on Sci-Fi Podcast. And on tonight's show, we have Tom from America and Claude from Portsmouth.
Yes, sunny Portsmouth, but it's not sunny. Nice to talk to you guys. We are having a few technical issues, but we're trying something on Zoom this week rather than usual audio, mixing in with graphics. So we want to see how it's going. So we don't know. This is experimental, but hopefully it will prove to be a bit more kind of interactive, especially on YouTube, because I can still mix in the graphics and stuff, but make it slightly different. Nice to speak to you. So we're going to be focusing on Tom's book. I've managed to sort of go through it and finish it today. It was good. A lot to take in because I've only had a few days to go through it, and it was 12 hours audio-wise, but certainly some interesting aspects. And we're going to really focus on this show talking about Tom's book, because of course it's really kind of you to first of all let us get a read of it. I know that Marty's not been able to check it all out yet, although I know you're aware of it. So
I've checked some of it out.
Yeah, and I've been looking at also people's reviews and getting an idea of what it's about. I mean, it's got. We will talk about it in a minute, focusing on it, but it did have aspects of lots of films that came to mind. It reminded me a bit of Space Above and Beyond. It reminded me a bit of The Expanse. It also had religious aspects, it was certainly an interesting read. But I only wish perhaps I'd gone through it a bit slower to really assimilate it as well as because there's a lot of information there. But I enjoyed
I like the future of mankind just exterminating everything in the universe.
Yeah, well, in this universe, we'll say
it's very horrible, aren't they?
It's set in the 23rd century, I think it was, and it was. I think Tom's book is. I think they've come across something like 20 species and been lots of wars and all sorts of things, and there was. And the Arnok are certainly the most interesting species, but we'll talk about that. Before we do that, though, I think what we should do is let's quickly see if there's any news that you two have come across, and we'll share that with the world. So let's go into the jingle and see what we've got.
Working.
Solar Sci-Fi
News.
All right, so this week, from what I've seen, this week is the last episode of The Expanse. I've not seen it yet. I'm planning on seeing it tomorrow. Martin, you are now into episode 5. Tom, have you seen the end of it yet?
I've seen it. I saw it last night. It was great. I really loved it.
Right.
It was very exciting.
Brilliant. How about you, Martin? So what do you think of the first 5 episodes?
It's absolutely amazing how the balance of power has changed in that solar system in 4 episodes. I could not stop watching it.
Yeah. So what's happening? Yeah, that's the last episode I think you saw. Wasn't that episode 3 that the asteroids came down? Or was it episode 4?
The what?
When the asteroids come down.
I think it was episode 4, I think.
So it's the most recent.
Yeah, they destroyed one, didn't they?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, did you see the scene in that prison with that robot guy, cyborg guy, who was totally insane?
Yes.
And Amos had that, and he just threw him down that shaft. I mean, wow, I just love this series, you know?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
It's very good.
It's funny because, after watching Star Trek Discovery, and you watch The Expanse, and I don't think they're in the same league somehow, I'm afraid to say. I shouldn't be saying that.
I'm sorry. I mean, apparently we're getting a big villain in season 4 of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think of it? How about you, Tom? Do you think there's a major difference between The Expanse and Star Trek Discovery, or do you think they've both got pros, or what?
I think the world building in The Expanse is a lot more cohesive than Star Trek ever was, and it's very much based on an extension of our current history, so it feels much more relatable.
Right.
Star Trek has always thought of, if the Expanse was an episode of Star Trek, it would just be a little tiny blip in the some far off place that they would zoom through and come back out of. But they've taken like what's happening in one solar system, and just really, I don't ever think there's been a show that's been quite as focused on our solar system.
Yes, absolutely.
But for me, I love it. I think it blows the last couple seasons of Discovery away, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm afraid I have to fully agree about that. But in the end, it's all, people are going to like different aspects in science fiction, and of course there are people who absolutely love Discovery. I think there are some positives about it, but I think that after the first 5 series, so far the CBS Paramount Plus productions have not quite worked, but in the end it's individual taste, isn't it? Any other news for you guys? Anything you can come across? Martin, you're normally the one with news.
Yeah, well, the Starship launch, apparently it was a success yesterday of the Starship.
Oh, didn't it crash? I thought it crashed at the Atlantic or something.
Yeah, it did. They knew it was going to crash, but they got it. It crashed from like 1 kilometre coming down, so it's a big, massive stride for it, because they actually turned it to, because they were trying to land it like that, but it's doing what it should be doing.
Oh, so it's still a positive test, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because they got it up to 10 kilometres yesterday.
And wasn't the last one?
Because they're trying to.
I was going to say, wasn't the last one 8,000 or something? 8,000 kilometres or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the 8,000 kilometres. Yeah, Earth's atmosphere. If it were 8,000.
Oh, I meant 8 kilometres. No. 8 kilometres. Last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did 10, and they sort of got it. They say apparently when it goes to Mars, it's just going to go fly straight into Mars, and then it drifts in and stuff. And then
aren't they going to be nervous about landing? It's going to say. I mean, you get all the way to Mars.
Well, that's the problem with it.
Won't it be like brown trousers time for the astronauts? Be like, oh my god, here we go, This is it, kind of thing. I wouldn't be very confident about that.
Well, that's why I'm not going.
Tom, would you go?
I don't know. There was a season on Netflix called Mars, which was about the first colonies on Mars, and everybody looked really miserable on that show. It was pretty cool. It was like a half documentary, half drama about dramatization about the first settlers,
right? And
they think the song at the beginning of the show is called like 3 Minutes of Terror, which is what they refer to when a body is descending down to Mars. That there's going to be a lot of like I think the success rate for landing anything on Mars is probably like 40%.
Is it really that low? Wow.
It's pretty low. It is pretty low, and a lot of it has to do with miscalculating and the fact that Mars has almost no atmosphere. So when a body hits it, there's no way to slow it down.
I was going to say there's less friction. Less friction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of times.
The physicist,
Go on, Martin.
This physicist woman, she's created some kind of new drive or something. I've actually got it, and I think Elon Musk is after it now. This is a female physicist invents new fusion rocket that could take the first humans to Mars 10 times faster than space-proven thrusters.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, it feels like we're at the cusp of some brand new technological kind of revolution, and I think that it's all, how like jets were the big step after World War II, and then of course you had rockets for space. It feels like something's going to happen soon where getting to space is going to be a lot easier. There's so many advances in technology at the moment, so I reckon it will happen sooner rather than later. I mean, it was like I watched an episode of Star Trek, the original series. It was the one called Space Seed. And it was interesting because they mentioned 2018 in the episode, and it said by then, although of course later the series changed that, it said that was a point where we were starting to use interstellar sort of drives and stuff like that. And it's funny how I always like it when you watch old shows and they predict the future of Earth, and they're always normally quite off. But it just feels like something. I mean, there's a lot of stuff invested in space now, so I think it's quite exciting what's going to be happening soon. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Brilliant.
Yeah. It's
All right,
Project Artemis 2024.
Oh yeah.
Project Artemis.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Project Artemis is supposed to bring astronauts back to the South Pole of the Moon by 2024, which I think is really, really cool.
I would love that.
This focus on Mars is great, but the idea that we've been to the Moon like 6 times and just decided, nah, I think I'd love to see is, I grow older, a permanent settlement on the Moon. I think that would be really, really neat to see.
I would like that as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting with Moon, isn't it? You know, with Moon, because in years like when like America goes up there, then China goes up there, and Russia. I mean, they're like the free space nations in the world, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the Israelis have landed a robot probe on the Moon. I mean, what's going to happen when they start fighting over territory up there? Because they aren't going to do it. I mean, America's going to declare lord of it. We own this. China's going to do it. And then what about us, the British? Are we going to get anything from it? But I do own an acre of land on the Moon. And it's mine, and none of you are having it.
So how much?
Be a millionaire real estate.
How much?
On an acre.
How much would you accept if they offered you? Say if America landed a rocket there, and they thought, right, we want to claim this. Oh, hang on, who's this? Martin Fowler owns it. What are we going to do? I mean, how much would you accept for them to take your land?
Well, probably just about. I'd say about $500 million for a start down payment. So
that's not a one-off. That is like a start payment. So how many installments?
Well, no, that's a leasehold for
right.
That'll be a leasehold for 99 years. Yeah.
So it's not freehold; it's leasehold.
I can authorize on behalf of my government up to 5.
Well, it's not that, Tom. I mean, our politicians over there, they're so tight-fisted, they won't do aught about it. So it looks like we won't be going to the Moon anytime soon. Branson might. Branson might get us.
Can hitch a ride. He might. But I just have a funny feeling like it would be, just like a hotel experience, low Earth orbit, type of scenario.
Well, he's not popular in this country. He's not very popular at the moment in Branson because he's moaning about how much tax he has to pay. So he's gone down in the public estimation, But he will be the one that will probably get us there.
I've never really been a fan of Richard Branson, I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, he's, I remember he used to do cameos in shows in the 80s, like he appeared on Only Fools and Horses and stuff like that. Anyway, I think it's just a partly jealousy because you want his money and everything like that. Any other news?
For All Mankind is coming back. After discussions of the Moon, For All Mankind, I believe, is coming back sometime this month.
Brilliant.
Which is a great show. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it myself. Have you? And you've seen it? Did you say, Martin?
Is that the one with Casey Sackhoff?
No. It's I forget who's in it exactly, but it's about if the space race never ended. So we've got the Russians and Americans fighting over the moon and stuff like that. It's really a good one.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for that actually. I've seen trailers for that and posters. I've seen the posters for that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll have to look at that. I mean, that's
it's really strong.
Yeah. Okay, I'll check that out. I'm always up for new stuff. I'm still going through this Star Wars.
So
Go on, Martin.
We've got some really exciting sci-fi news though. George Clooney will star in and produce the new Buck Rogers series.
Oh, is it going to be like Jill Gerard, like Buck Rogers in the 25th century kind of thing with Tweaky or something?
No, it's going to be a bit darker. But George Clooney is Buck Rogers.
I saw him the other day, and I saw him in From Dusk Till Dawn. Have you seen From Dusk Till Dawn? I thought that was quite a good movie. I thought that was pretty fun. And I saw it years ago.
I didn't remember Gil Gerard being.
No, I mean, George Clooney was in From Dusk Till Dawn. Go on, Martin.
There's a TV series that accompanies the movies. There's a TV series. It's on Netflix.
All right.
It's 3 seasons. It goes beyond the movies.
Okay.
which is it's not bad actually. To be honest, it's not that bad.
Right. Okay.
I
Well,
wouldn't mind it coming back as a sort of campy comedy.
yeah. I mean, I didn't mind the early '80s. I mean, you can see it was made by the Battlestar Galactica original series people. It had that same feel to it. I thought it was quite fun. I mean, yeah. I actually have not seen all the episodes properly, but I've seen most of them. And there was a big change between season 1 and season 2 of Battlestar Buck Rogers. But yeah, I thought it was quite a fun series. It wasn't the deepest of series, but it was, you know, if it's playing in the background, I would certainly enjoy watching it. I think, you know,
It was very silly.
yeah.
What do you think to George Clooney as Buck Rogers? Do you think he could pull it?
I think
sure.
if you're asking me, yeah, if it's a good enough, if it's written well enough, and you think the same, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think. I mean, I think George he's got a lot of range, either comedy or drama. I think he's pretty good. I hope it bends more towards lighthearted comedy than super intense. I don't think we need another dark version of like Lost in Space, for example. I mean that's pretty elaborate, but I think we can pull it off. Definitely.
Yeah. I certainly would like to see it, so I think we'll definitely check that. So, any other news? There's not much this end.
There's Wakanda, the TV series, is coming by Marvel.
Okay, now this is your prerogative. So, tell me all about this character.
Black Panther, Kingdom of Wakanda spin-off series coming to Disney.
Oh, okay. I saw the film Black Panther recently after the actor died.
Yeah.
And I actually thought it was quite good. I thought it was quite an enjoyable film. So
you're doing well. I'm really proud of you that you're expanding more into the Marvel universe now.
I'm treading very carefully. I do like WandaVision. I've seen the first 4 episodes. 4, I think it is now, and it's good. The last episode certainly had some interesting changes. But it's very. I mean, it's not what I thought Marvel was about. This is quite a deep kind of. I like it. I like this town where we've now established that there's a town where you walk through a sort of force field, and it's this world. And we found out why there was a coloured helicopter in the first episode which fell out of the sky, which was seen in the last episode because it sort of went back, sort of like a parallel time as to when the first episode. I quite like it. I think it's quite cool. So I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, it's nothing like what Marvel's ever done before. So it's not really, I think, an example of typically what they do. I think it's completely something different and new and off the rails.
And I think that may be why I like it. I think that might be why I like it as well, because it just doesn't feel like anything Marvel. And I shouldn't just sort of like generalize, but this, Marvel, I always think of like the superheroes, and I don't mind superheroes to a degree, but I don't know. It always strikes me as more, I don't know, fantasy. I don't know. But anyway, I like this. I like WandaVision. It strikes me as a very interesting show. So I think it's only 9 episodes, so we're almost halfway through already, which is a shame.
Yeah, they've not revealed the big bad. It's suspected who it is, but well, we're gonna have to wait on that. I think they're gonna pull a fast one. Everybody's down that it's Mephisto, that this demon from this dimension. But
because I won't know who it is when they come on and your mind says, "Oh, it's this character." I won't know who it is because I'm not that familiar. So, but
because Doctor Strange is coming into it in next couple of episodes.
Is that the Benedict actor? Isn't it? Is he Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
So he's going to be in a TV series. I would have thought. Well, no, I suppose he did that Sherlock Holmes one, so he might do a TV series if he gets offered enough money, I suppose.
Yeah, he's going to be in it.
Yeah, cool, brilliant. Okay.
WandaVision is the prequel to the.
Hang on, your internet's breaking up a bit. If you want to say that again, if you're still there.
I can't hear you, man.
That's right, you're breaking up. That's right. Repeat that because we've break up.
Prequel to the next. All right, it's the prequel. So this series is the prequel to the Doctor Strange movie. It's coming out this year.
Okay, all right, cool, brilliant. So that's good. Anything else, guys?
No. I got nothing else.
Okay.
That's it's done.
Okay.
Good luck this week.
This internet really throws you off when it sort of like freezes stuff. We'll plod on. Like I said, it might be. This is an experiment. We wanted to try something more video based, but like I said, if this, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we can record off Skype in the future. I don't know how we're going to do it. We're trying different formats because when it's fine, it's fine. But then when it freezes up, but we're just trying new things. So, like I said, it's an idea. So let's see how it goes. Right, are we ready for the focus of the week, guys? Are we ready for this one? I think Tom will be ready for this one. Right, here we go.
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Focus
Of the week.
Sure.
Right, so I've just about checked it all out. We are reviewing a certain book by a certain author. What's his name? Tom. That guy there, the guy there with the cap on. It's your book. Hey. Thank you for letting us check this out. I have enjoyed it. First of all, there's a lot of information. It was quite a thorough book. There's a lot of sort of aspects going on. So I know we reviewed it. We did talk about this briefly when you first came on the show, but this is the episode where we really want to focus on it. So tell us again, remind us again of how you got into creating this book, and then we'll go from how the story goes. Tell us how it all started.
Yeah, so I had just gotten back from doing my pitches to Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I just had this idea of a guy floating in space who'd been through a disaster. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to have him rescued and come aboard a ship and be a mystery. And once I had that, I just kind of I thought I'm gonna write a screenplay about this individual. And once I'd done that, I realized it was a bit too big for its britches, so I converted it into a novel and had it published a couple of years ago by a publishing house, which has hence gone out of business. So that's kind of the story of how it all started.
Right. So just remind us. So how long did it actually take for you to actually write the whole book?
So I drafted the original screenplay, a couple of years prior to writing the book, and then once I had the contract to write the book, it was from beginning to end probably about 6 or 7 months to put it all together. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, there was lots of interesting characters. Of course, the main characters that I saw, the antagonist was, of course, Timberwolf LS and what's the other characters? There was lots of. Obviously, there's the Arnott character, which was in Timberwolf's head. But there's lots of aspects. There was Gray, who was the main kind of adversary. But I mean, there was so much information here, which was really interesting. I mean, like I said, when I've watched it, it did have that kind of darker sci-fi feel. It did remind me, like I said, of the fact that it's the future, but the world's not perfect. But also, what made you think about bringing in the religious aspect into this? Because there was a lot of almost like religious soldiers it said in the book that one bit I did notice. You said that the book itself had religion, but it wasn't kind of like Christianity and Hinduism. It was kind of like there was like the Third Testament, and it was like a evolution of religion. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I wanted to sort of take what I felt would happen if humanity ever ran into alien beings that we how would that center or recenter our philosophy and our theology, right? And taking into the account the concepts of things like imperialism and sort of, and that's one of the aspects of it is that all of this is sort of a new imperialism. Everyone's rushing out to take what they need, and they're finding, alien species somewhere, and as an excuse, a lot of them are being, we're waging war on a lot of alien species just because we want to take their land, and then the religious establishment is kind of backing that up, and at the higher edge of it, and a lot of people don't really even believe all this nonsense. but they have a vested interest to believe it. And I think it kind of speaks a lot to American politics. Is that there's a lot of things that are fairly toxic in American politics right now that people pretend or choose or portray to believe, but they don't necessarily do so. But it's expedient for them to do it.
I mean, the impression I got was because of the fact that we'd gone out into space and we discovered different kind of life, and of course a lot of it involved territory and wars or whatever, but that was where you think about religion. Of course, you have religion on earth with the Bible and everything, and of course, as you say, you mentioned the third testament. And I think that the way I saw it, that people's perception of religion, as you say, was changed because we weren't alone in the universe, that there were other aspects out there which would change your own philosophy. Is that a correct interpretation?
Yeah, that's a fairly good interpretation, but it's also an extremely modern concept because people aren't seeing miracles happen in front of their eyes. They're seeing it in a technological perspective. So there's lots of people that have decided to believe because it makes so and then there's a lot of folks on the bottom end. There's like specific characters that are very, very vested in it, that are fanatical, and then there's lots of them that are sort of on the bubble that you don't know quite if they're really believing this stuff or just saying it as as a mouthpiece.
Because there was that character.
I
was going to say there was another character, Jacob, as well, wasn't there? Who was kind of like he was like a religious soldier, wasn't he? That sort of thing. I also
he's like the space pope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was more of an icon, wasn't he? Kind of thing. I also like the character of Wraith, which you described in the book as a half tiger stroke half salamander sort of creature. How did you come up with him?
Yeah, so I really wanted to. Part of my influence was the Aliens franchise, and I wanted to create sort of an analog to the Alien.
It did remind me a bit of like the Soldiers and Aliens kind of thing. That was the fighting. They had the aspect about that reminded me of that, and also a bit of the Soldiers in Space Above and Beyond, kind of like this sort of team coming up against this enemy. Is that a sort of how you came across with that from those two perspectives?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of Space Marines and having a combat out in 0G and needing to have a mechanized pressurized suit and things like that. But the idea of Wrath was kind of like how in the Alien franchise they always say, well, we can't let the company get the alien because all hell will break loose and what. I was like, well, why don't we just let the company get the alien, and have it weaponized? And Wrath is essentially a weaponized xenomorph.
But
he has a lot of personality for a character that's an animal.
Yeah, absolutely. I pronounced it Wraith, but of course it was Wrath I was talking about. I was going to say, go on, Martin.
I read this interesting review, what I found quite fascinating, what somebody said on Amazon about I like it when the human race is not like up its arse out in space, it's being human, with its faults. And somebody says something greater. Sadly, in this vision of the future, some of the less than noble traits of mankind's nature, greed, treachery, religious bigotry and war feature most prominently in this story as religious crusades of the 11th to the 13th centuries result in some horror conflicts. I just love that review.
Yeah.
And that it sounds like an incredible universe, does this? But what you've done is you've really focused on the human traits here. It's not like Star Trek where it's all wonderful. This is us expanding out beyond our sphere and meeting unknown life forms and just being taking advantage of them and being human as corporates. All the human. I mean, there is nobleness, obviously, but it's that like the whole human nature, the darker side of it. That's something we don't understand. Just get rid of it. Like you said, the alien and the corporation. What if the corporation did get the alien? I love that sort of thing to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I also liked the Arnok race. the spiders.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that? I mean, because it was Kissick was the main one. He was like the leader. How did that come into the equation?
So that evolved kind of sort of organically as I was writing it. I wanted to have some sort of presence in Timberwolf's head that is there to torture him. And the reason why he's there is Timberwolf was exposed to Kizik on purpose because they are creatures that communicate via psychic, back and forth.
Sure.
And we wanted somebody who could monitor what the Arnok were potentially doing. So we exposed Timberwolf on purpose to the Arnok, and that obviously didn't go well.
No.
Because it drove him pretty much mad. But he does have that connection to the Arnok, and as he's going through his adventures, he's got this sort of pestering anti-conscience in his head, which is the spider Kizik, who's trying to control him and manipulate him into helping him achieve his end. So it's a really interesting symbiotic relationship. And what I have in here is that there isn't exactly villains in this book. It's sort of people that have sort of twisted ideas about what's right and wrong. And Kizik isn't necessarily a villain. He's sort of protecting his hive. He's doing terrible things to Timberwolf, but only in response, more or less, to things that have been done to him. So it's a different sort of approach in that sense. And also the concept of spiders. Everybody, think of a spider, and it's
in a negative way,
disturbing thing.
Exactly.
For people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you think Kizik partly as a character learned through his learning of Timberwolf? I mean, do you think that's partly what made him the way he was, his experience of humanity as a sort of blended kind of character?
Yeah, he has had an experience against humanity, because there was a war between the Arnok spiders and humanity.
That's right. Sorry, that's right. There was that point. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and Kizik was part of driving off the humans, and when they did that, they realized that they could control and invade.
Sorry, it's freezing up a second.
And they did twisted the whole Arnok society be something that's not because of because of that war.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, the internet was slightly unstable for a second, so I apologise for that. So it was certainly an interesting book, and in the end, I was surprised. I mean, I know that Martin's not seen it yet, but I mean, I will say that Gray didn't make it at the end. Was that the plan, or because when you made your first book, had you planned to make a sequel, or did you just want to get this out there and see how it went, and then decide whether you want to do a sequel?
You broke up there for a second. I think you're asking about what happened to Gray at the end of the book.
Yeah.
So the sequel to the book is out, and the last line of the book is that Emmanuel Gray was no more.
That's right.
But that didn't necessarily mean he was dead.
I assumed that I took that he died. Okay. That's the way I read it. But as you say, okay. So
in the last scene, spoiler alert for everyone.
Yeah, that's fine.
So he's sort of locked into a stasis pod where, as he's going through his last moment.
Scraps playing up again.
Of being conscious, he's sort of forgetting things.
Right.
Where he'd come to evolving, and then in the next book, you're experiencing him as being awoken from that without knowing his identity.
Right. Yeah. Well, anyway, I didn't know that, but I still think it was a very good book. I want to sort of go through it again. I tell you what it reminded me slightly of. It's like when I first watched The Expanse, there was a lot to take in, and I really want to watch The Expanse again so that I can appreciate the universe a bit more because of the actual experience of seeing it. So I am going to check out the book again, and then of course once I've done that and I've looked at all these other races that are interacting. So it was Phalon as well, lots of different races. But yeah, it was certainly an excellent book, and it's really good that you managed to get it out there. Do you want to say again where you can get a copy of this book?
Yeah, you just go to tomjulian.com is where the book's at. That'll lead you over to Amazon, and you'll be able to download the there's print format, a audio format as well. So you can all three formats for the first book.
Okay.
Available.
Will you be doing like another book? Will you be doing like another book to all this time? Will there be like a third book or?
Yeah, so I've got a third book on the way that I've been working on. The Explorer is the ongoing conflict that's happening. So one of the main conflict in the book is between, really, the backdrop of it is the fighting with alien races, but the real conflict is between humans and deciding whether or not to continue the march across the galaxy of conquest that's really destructive. So that's really the nature of it. And there's the second book has a hot civil war going on between humanity fighting each other. Ironically, the Department of Peace Enforcement is leading a civil war. So, I love to play with stuff like that. So that's a lot of fun.
Brilliant. Lovely. Well, listen, again, thank you again for sharing this with us. We've certainly enjoyed reviewing it. And I really hope that, it becomes more well known. And, it's one of those, what I love about these sort of books, even if it's an audio, is you get the mind's eye of how you'd like to see it eventually if it was made into a film adaptation or a TV adaptation. I mean, if you had the choice, if it sort of really became big, would you prefer it as a one-off movie or would you prefer it to be a series?
TV, definitely. Absolutely.
I was going to say that. There's too much. There's too much.
There.
Yeah, there's too much for a film. If you put it in a 2-hour film format, you would lose so much because each of the characters is so developed and it's a lot to take on board. But like I said, this is what science fiction is all about, and I certainly think it's great that we could have actually learned this story.
It's interesting that, like, I agree. So it's like June, the new one, they've split the first book into 2 movies, which make a lot more sense. And especially like with TV now, and it's so quality what we're getting now, like The Expanse. I could see this being a 10, 12 part.
I could, absolutely. Yeah, even if it was, you got enough there for a whole season. Absolutely, 12-part season. And then if that was big, then you could possibly develop your second book and see how it went. It'd be great. I would love it if one day, we can look back and think this is Tom Julian when he came on our little show, and he's now, got this massive series on wherever. You never know. I mean, that's
the dream. That's the dream.
You never know, Tom. I might give you an acre of my land on the moon as well. You never know.
Maybe you could incorporate your acre of land into the next book or something. You can actually feature it on the next book.
We put it in there. We could put it in there and film there. Only if we can film there. But I want the acre of land.
Absolutely, that's brilliant. Well, thank you for that. Now we're going to do this. I think we're going to do this show because we've got the video is not very good. It's a bit jittery. So, and it's also saying that my recording is going to run out soon. So I think we're going to have a short one this week because it was a video thing. We will do the Island of Dr. Moreau. I think if it's okay with you guys, let's try that next week and talk about that because that's certainly going to be an interesting one. And I think what we'll do is we'll round it. It has been a short show, but this has been an experiment, and we might try other formats like Skype video or something, and let's see how this turns out. But thank you guys very much. Any musical requests before we go? Anything that you fancy hearing?
Doctor Who and the Time Lords.
Oh, Doctor and the Tardis.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Martin. That sounds like a great one. Let's do that. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Martin. We will be back next week in some formats. I don't know how it's going to show up, but really appreciate you both coming on, and we'll catch you next time on the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast or video cast or whatever you want to call it. Catch you later, guys.
Live long and prosper.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.
Doctor Who, the TARDIS,